we doing? Here we go. Hope everybody's having a good day and a good week and a good month. Yay. All right. I got one. I don't see you, Jack. Oh. He's responding in our group chat, but not on here. So should be joining in soon. I'm excited to talk about what I'm excited about today. So I kind of have a topic that we talked about. Hello, Jack. How are you?
I'm great now, Joe. How are you?
Yay. Awesome. Thank you. So the topic I just said, you just said to me very nicely, like, what's our topic today? And I'm like, I want to talk about this. And I think that airs on Friday, next Friday. So the topic we're going to talk about a little bit today, but of course we're going to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. That's the point here. With Clubhouse too is we did all our podcasts this morning that are going to air all five Monday through Friday next week. So we did our 5 shows this morning. Yes, we did our 5 shows. We took a quick 15, 20-minute break. We jump here on Clubhouse. We'll take another little break, and then we'll have our Thursday calls. So Thursdays are busy for us. But anyway, I'm excited to talk about being excited about a mailer. So that's my topic today is mailer excitement. And for those of you just joining are going, what the heck are you guys talking about? What's this land thing and what's a mailer? So I'll give you a little bit of quick little backstory, but you could always click on me and click on Jack and click on our bios and click on the Land Investing Club. That's all us. So in a nutshell, we are Land Academy. Jack started buying and selling land for himself in the 90s, grew a very sizable company out of it. I came along, gosh, going on 14 years ago, and we not only, you know, took our land company to a new level, but in 2015, we created Land Academy where we can teach other people how to buy and sell land and have a nice life like we do also. So that's what this is, and that's who Land Academy is. And we've done 16,000 deals so far, and yeah, that's a lot, and that's a real number. We're very excited, and we are here to teach you and help you and answer your questions if this is something you want to do. Ask away. So, and there's no, it doesn't matter what level you are. I know I see a lot of people in this room that I know, and I see a lot of people that I don't know. So, this, even though I kind of have a topic, it's just kind of a loose topic just to give us something to start with. But ask any questions you want. So today I was going to talk about mailer excitement. The thing that makes us special is how we source deals, and this really comes from Jack. So Jack, do you want to share that, or you want me to keep talking? There's no wrong answer.
You mean share how we
Uh huh.
source them now?
Yeah. How do you describe a mailer in our world?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of years ago, out of pure laziness and disdain for cold calling, I
Love it.
concocted this system of let's just get the universe of people who own real estate in a certain geography. Let's just call it a zip code, and send everybody a blind offer. Make it look like the offer is only to them. That doesn't look like a blind offer campaign, so we don't use postcards or any other type of silliness, or I call it trickery, where we don't include a dollar in the note. It's a business letter with an envelope that says, "Hey, we want to buy your property for fill in the blank amount of money." "Hey, Sally Smith, we want to buy your property," and it worked. And so we get the result of that is it yields a very predictable, consistent response, numbers wise, when it's done correctly. So what you now have, once you've identified a place to send mail, you've got 8 or 10 or 20 white hot leads. They're not even leads; they're willing sellers to sell their property. So the mail ends up doing all the work for you, all the cold calling and all the drama. So, uh, you know, through a lot of trial and error and a lot of mistakes, and improvements we've come up. We've devised this system. So here we are. And not, as it turned out, Jill and I joined forces about 10 years ago. She loves to answer the phone. It's not my thrill in life, but she loves it. So we seem to be a pretty good team.
Well, here's the whole thing too. I want to let the everybody know who's just joining in and figuring this out. When we are talking about sending out a mailer, we're sending out, right, these mailers by the thousands. Like, what's the one that just went out? This most recent one. How many? Okay, there we go.
One in the mail for 12,000.
So we're not messing around. It's not like 100, 200. Nothing's handwritten, and nothing is on a pretend yellow, handwritten sticky thing. We're not. It's very professional from our company, with my name and phone number on it and a real dollar amount kind of thing. And we just wait for those people to get the offers and reach back out and say, yeah, I do want to sell, or no, I don't want to sell, or yeah, I like what's going on here, but I don't like this price. And then we figure it all out and we buy it if we like it.
Exactly.
That's the gist of it. And I'm jacked because this is what I love. I love being the anticipation of what's coming. So some people, I think, are like, okay, wait a minute. After I get all this stuff figured out, I got to reach out to these people. They're going to call me back or write me or email me or whatever it is. Some of them may not be happy because let's be honest, right? It's like these are blind offers. Nobody did anything to ask this. I'm reaching out to them. But you just still you don't know what's on the other end. And you're never going to get there unless you get over this. So I love this. I'm going to get Jip up here.
Much to get over, is there?
I think some people still have a hang up on this. Hey, well, look at the guy, Evan, in Discord. Evan is reaching out. I bet Evan's phone is blowing up right now because we have a member in Land Academy who says, hey, if you guys, I'll help you. I'll answer your phones, and not have to do like a Pat Live or something. And I'm good at it. I have this much experience. This is what I'm doing. Here's some of the deals I take down. I know what's going on. I would, if I think a lot of people are probably into that. I know a lot of people have asked me to do it. I just don't have the bandwidth to do it. What do you think, Chip? How are you? I've got you up here. You may be muted. Or if you have a headset, sometimes that goofs up your audio. I can't hear you yet, Chip. I still can't hear you, Chip. Darn. Okay. So I say, try your headset. I don't know if you have to want to step out, step back in. When you can get it, just chime in. But I'm excited, especially this mailer. This is a very, not that they're not all very, very strategic. This one is really strategic.
This is a repeat area for us. There's multiple areas in one mailer. I think it's probably 20 zip codes-ish. Mm-hmm. It's an area where we've had pretty good success in the past for houses, mobiles, and for land. Mm-hmm. But we're really kicking it up a notch here. And honestly, we're responding to now more than ever the time frame. The market's like this. We're on a real serious downswing from a velocity of buying and selling all real estate. We just are because the way interest rates are and the economy is and all of that. So I expect that we're going to pick up because this is our third time. You and I, it's our second time doing this through some type of recession. Mm-hmm. It's my third time. I think it's your second. I know it's your second time, Jill. So mm-hmm. I know exactly what to expect. Within some type of within reason. So
yeah,
it's really exciting. Actually, it's kind of like we have inside information. Well, we do have inside information.
Yeah. That's the whole thing right now. I'm not afraid of it at all with the stuff coming. Everybody's talking about interest rates. Doesn't affect me. I'm paying cash for everything. And, when I'm selling it, it's however they want to do it. It's up to them. And there's a lot of people that have a lot of cash. So it hasn't slowed me down. And if anything, this is a time where people with cash, they're waiting for this. I think we talked about this 2 weeks ago. There's a lot of people that really make money right now. It's like, right, isn't that even, not that this is stock market like, but when the stock market's not moving very much, there's not opportunity to make a lot of money. But when there's big swings, then there is,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah. I mean, absolutely. When there's a variance in any market, and there's huge variance in real estate, always in the best of times and the worst of times and everything in between. There's large opportunities to make a bunch of money and lose a bunch of money, but it's hard to lose money in real estate if you grossly underpay for what it's worth that day,
Mm-hmm.
which is our business model.
Exactly. That's exactly. You said something like that the other day. Could you imagine what would you do if you could buy a stock like whatever Apple's at right now? If you could buy Apple stock or fill in the blank. Oh, by the way, what was that new shoot? It's RAI like RATIAN or something like that. You know what I'm talking about, Jack? That electric um, pickup truck. I saw one to what's it called?
Rivian. I've seen that
That's
around here
it.
too.
Yep. It was parked outside of F45 this morning. So I'm like, oh, it looks pretty good, especially on the inside. When you look inside, like our cars, especially some of our cars go back to the 60s. It's nothing like what's going on inside of these cars.
Right.
It's really, really cool. All right, so ask questions. I'm going to keep talking about mailer excitement for a little bit, but I want to know what you guys want to talk about. I want to know what questions you have. If you've got some deals that you're working through and you're not sure what direction to go. I shared a huge thing today that's going to air next week, and I sent Brooklyn here a note about it on my team. I did a case study on a property that I had that took, not kidding, over a year to sell and four different agents. And we still doubled our money, but it just was like, jeez. It was like, but you can't give up, and that's okay. It's not my only deal. And it's funny because you move on, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Where are we today? It's been how many months? You know, Big
I don't
deal.
forget about it.
Oh, that's funny. Because that's because you go looking at the numbers and you're always that's what you do. You sit and are like, okay, how much money do we have out there? What's in where things are moving through the system. I'm just getting them going as fast as I can. Not too fast.
Like all business partners and all life partners, Jill and I grow together. And
Tuh.
I've learned over the last several years that the last thing I want to do if I want to have a pleasant existence is ask Jill how any deal's going. Hey, how's that deal going? And fill in the blank. Zero.
That's funny.
My reaction is going to be, hey, I don't know. And
That's
if you
true.
ever ask me that question again, this is what's going to happen.
It's like, and it's like, here's the Airtable. Let's
Yeah,
we,
like why don't you go look it up? It's like when
yep,
you're little, asking your parents how do you spell, how do you spell something?
exactly. Totally. Chip. Did you figure that out yet? Can you talk? Well, I know we can talk. All right, he's trying. I can tell. Changes are happening. All right, let me try this again. I'm going to try to invite you back up here. I think we got you. Can you talk? Did it work, Chip? Nope. Shoot. All right, Danya, I'm trying to get you up here. Let's try that. How are you? Is it Danya or Dania? If you can, go ahead and try to talk. If you've got headsets on sometimes, I think that goofs with the audio. Oh,
How about now?
yep, I gotcha.
Oh, okay.
Yay.
Hi, Jill. So nice to talk to you.
Thank you.
Hi, yeah. So me and my husband are Land Academy members.
Cool.
And I wanted to know how you all were feeling about deal funding with new members still. I mean, we've listened to a lot of your videos and looked at all the education, and you have a very positive attitude towards it. But we're new. We haven't had a deal yet, but we are working on a mailer that looks very good based off the red, yellow, green.
Mm-hmm.
And it may come back with, we might get a purchase agreement, but we don't have necessarily the funds to, for these offers. So how are you feeling about deal funding with new members right now?
Bring it. I just want you to have a plan. And if you've got a good plan and you can say, "Hey, here's what we're going to do. I've already got 3 brokers lined up and they say this and I connected with that guy and he thinks we can sell it in this amount of time and I got this." I just have the sense of, you're feeling good about it too. Then
Okay.
that's really all it is. I only get really concerned when I don't know who the people, I don't know how they found the deal. I don't know, sometimes I've had people submit deals to me. They're not Land Academy members and it's on the MLS. So I'm like, okay, what the heck is this? That's,
Okay.
I can't work with
Okay.
that. But no, so that's it. And my transaction coordinator, when you submit the deal, it usually on the deal funding page, it has a lot of that stuff on there for you to kind of fill
Mm-hmm.
in. Don't be afraid to say, yes, member, how many deals? 0. That's okay. But put in
Okay.
there for me, like, here's why we love it. We reviewed it on the Thursday call together. You liked it. I've already talked to these guys and, I just need you to be the bank and we're going to do this. I'll be like, yeah, let's go.
Okay. So all the same things you've always said are still holding true. Nothing's
Mm-hmm.
changed. We listened to the video last night about the market, and I
Good.
said, I'm going to ask.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome question. So
Okay.
what's the price range? What are you looking at, by the way? You're looking at like buy for 10, sell for 30, or what are we?
Potentially between 20 and 40, hopefully selling for 90, 100, even up towards 120.
Okay. That is totally my sweet spot. I love it.
Yeah, we're gonna be
Okay.
best friends.
Send those over.
The fact, the fact that
My
you're here,
husband admires you, Jack, so
the fact that you're
awesome.
here answering that question is, or asking this question is fantastic. So that's a massive difference between most people that are brand new and just throwing stuff at us.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And we
Good.
understand. We'll have our ducks in a row, so wish us luck.
Yay.
Jill and I
Okay.
like to say this to each other in our personal lives and to our children. Like overkill is appropriate here. Like the more information you can give us, who you're going to list it with, what you think it's going to sell for, how fast it's going to sell, even traffic counts. If hopefully it's on a road, so you can get a sign up and all of that, then
Yep.
it'll
Okay.
bring it right to the top. What happens? The opposite of this. You would never do this, but the opposite of it is, hey, I'm brand new. Here's a deal. Is it any good? And it's all submitted to deal funding, and there's no signed purchase agreement, and it's just there's no real plan. It's
Hmm.
just asking Joe if it's a good deal.
Okay.
All right.
Understood.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Is it Danya or Dania? How do I pronounce it?
It's Dana. The I is silent. It always
Oh,
throws people off, but it's Dana.
thank you. Now I'll remember that. Thank you, Dana. So,
No worries.
yeah, is if it's as best you can at whatever level you're at, you're like, oh, if I had $25,000 lying around, or like you're looking out in the driveway, like, do I sell a car? Definitely call me on that one. Like, this one looks
Okay.
really good. We feel great about it. It gives you those
Okay.
butterflies. We're good to go. And then it's nice too because you've done your best work, and then I'll be another pair of eyes for you to make sure that we all make a good decision here. So
Okay.
cool. Good
Thank you so
job.
much.
I'm
Thank you.
excited. Hey, when does the mail hit, by the way?
So it's going out tomorrow.
Cool.
I'll ask another question as well.
Sure.
We come from a separate land education tribe, and
Hmm.
we discovered you all, so we went with the service that they recommended with our first mailer, and we did learn from it, but we didn't get any deals from it. But we
Okay.
still have a quota of mail with them that we need to use up because we already prepaid. So we're going to
Okay.
use that up. But the question is, my husband was wondering if I guess if you would take any offense or anything in that nature. I don't think you would, but to not using O2O on the mail that we maybe might pull a deal
No.
from.
Oh
Okay.
no. As long as you're
Okay.
doing, as long as you're following the, the general gist of how you're, trolling and pricing and sourcing, and you got a real dollar amount on there and that kind of a thing. No, it's fine.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's,
Awesome.
that's,
Yes.
that's all good.
So then hopefully they'll be getting it out tomorrow.
Are you excited?
Very, very.
Good. Oh, are you answering the phone, Dana?
So my sister's coming in to help me, and thank goodness it could not have lined up better. So she will be taking over that because I'm back in the office 3 days a week now. So
Ah,
yes, yes, coming off of a
cool.
telework situation.
Got it. Well, good that you have someone, real there to get those calls
Yes,
for you.
yes, that's what
So,
we learned from that first mailer under our other camp.
mhm.
You can't let that stuff go to voicemail.
Yeah, we were just talking about this. Like I was talking about the shows we did today. Like I still take calls. I love getting
Hmm.
the inbound calls because I know, and like you're going to work, I'm sure, very closely with your sister, to get her
Oh
real
yes, we're
comfortable
gonna
with
have some
this.
training
Okay, good.
drill calls.
Exactly. So you're going to know that, her heart's in it, and like, just get me some juice. At the end of the day, all you got to tell her is just get a number out of them. Find out about the
Okay.
property and get some number out of them. As crazy as it sounds, I can work that out later. Because even sometimes
Okay.
people too will give you these, all right, here's your number, right? It's just like really far out there. But now they're warmed up to this whole idea too.
Yes.
And then I'm going to go back
Understood.
and then I can call them and say, look, all right, we all know that 250,000 wasn't the right number, but I can now look at this and say, you know what, even my original offer of 20 might have been low. This is it. I can do this, kind of thing. As long as you have something
Awesome.
You're
to,
Yeah,
taking
the
this.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jack.
You're taking this so seriously. I mean, you got your sister
yeah.
coming in. You were in a group. Now you joined Land Academy because it probably didn't meet your expectations, or for whatever reason. I mean, you were in a class by yourself. And
Yeah.
when you take something like this, you're going to be one of these people that Jill and I always say there's a certain type of person that joins a group, does really well. You're with the group for a year or two, and then we just never know what happens to you. You just disappear
Because
completely.
you're
So,
wealthy and you just go dark.
Here's hoping, but we'd love to give back if it's successful for us, which we believe
Oh,
it will
good.
be. So
Well, you know what? You already won't give up right now, Dana. So kudos to you for that. You're like, all right, whoever we worked with before, that wasn't a good fit. It didn't get it. We are not stopping because we believe in this. And here you
right.
are, and stay with us. We will get you
Okay.
there. I promise.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that so much.
You're welcome.
did you ever go back to like high school long after you graduated, like 3 or 4 years, and walk in? If you can still do this, walk in you had a favorite Spanish teacher, and you just walk in and wave, and you look at the teacher, and it's like, this guy's still here. What the hell?
The teacher or the oh,
That's Jill.
Yes.
That's Jill and I.
yeah.
8 years from now, just check back in with us on this. We'll probably be doing this silly, stupid little show.
Yep.
No, no.
What happened to those
That's
guys?
No, we love the show. It's the way you all teach it and Jack's directness. I really appreciate it, and we are definitely a Jack and Jill setup over here.
oh yay. Thank
Yeah, we got a
you.
lot of similarities. So
I am so glad. Well,
when I
thank you very much.
when I say show, I mean that's what we call Land Academy internally. Jill and I, like, what are we
I
going to
call
do?
our life a show. What are you talking about?
Clubhouse is a tiny little act in a big show called Land
got it.
Academy.
I think
Thank you
every
so
day is
much.
a show. And in the kitchen, it's a show.
That's right.
Yep. Yep.
Exactly.
Like 12
Oh,
acts in a day.
Yep. Okay. We're going to check in with Dana in a month or 6 months, by the way. We got to talk about working with your spouse because that's a whole nother thing. So we'll get to that.
Yeah, you're
Those are
you're
some of
about
my favorite shows.
Oh, good. Okay.
yeah you're about to meet your husband.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is not who I
exactly.
married.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why are you such an ass at work? That's what Joe says to me. Like, what's wrong with you?
Who is this guy?
30 minutes. 30
Just
minutes
getting it
later, you're
across the finish line. Just
Yep.
getting it across the finish line.
30 minutes
Totally.
later you're out to dinner having fun. So
Yep.
that's just how it is. You got to let it roll
It's,
off your back like everything.
yep. Good. Hey, Sam, how are you? Or is it Carl? I don't know because Sam was able to quit her job. Hopefully she can unmute and say hello. I got Sam or Chip. If you want to jump in and hopefully you got your audio figured out that you could. Oh, let's try. Hi,
Hey, can you
Chip.
hear me now?
Yep, we
Yeah.
gotcha. Yay.
Wow. Hey, guys, I was originally chiming in to let you know that we can barely hear Jack, but you couldn't
Oh,
hear me.
oh.
So that didn't work.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So logging back out and logging back in helped. But yeah, Jack, if you could, I don't know, project a little louder, I'm sure everybody would appreciate it. Or come out from wherever you are. I don't know. But
My
Right.
staff says it's okay now, but I'll keep working on it.
It did get
yeah.
better, but we
But
do need to upgrade some equipment, I think, too. Yep.
You mentioned something a minute ago about answering your own calls, and I'm right there with you. I know I feel like as I scale my business, I'll need to turn over to Jill or Pat Live.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, with the larger acres deals I'm doing, I feel like I need to answer those calls because they're such high dollar amounts that
Yeah.
I don't trust somebody else at this stage of my career to negotiate with the seller at the other end of the phone. So is there I don't know, a measure that you use, say like, okay, you're going to answer all the high dollar stuff, but anything below X amount on a certain mailer, you're going to kick over to Pat Live, or are you
Mm-hmm.
full time on the phone again?
Mm-mm. No, sometimes I'm just doing like the first wave of calls. I want to see what's really going on in the area. How well did we price stuff and what's happening? How smart are these people too? It's, those first calls, you get them talking there and everybody will start saying, did you know Amazon's coming in after the third call? You're like, all right, there's a reason why people don't like my offer because there's something new that they all know about that I didn't know
Sure.
about that makes it even better. So then I can tweak as I hand it off. So this mailer we got right now, it's a higher dollar amount and it's a specialty property. So
Mhm.
that's why I'm getting involved. But I've got a helper with me. So we're doing 50-50. And then I've got Pat Live standing by if I get tired of it or, I'm just overwhelmed. We'll pull them
Sure.
in too. So yeah.
Gotcha. Eh, I wanted to say thank you guys again. A week ago, yesterday, I was on the member call when I got my first wire for a 6-digit payday
Yes.
using your model. And so I just wanted to thank you again in person because it works. For anybody that's listening that hasn't tried it yet, I mean, this is the real deal. I
Yes.
was a habitual podcast listener for years and, have dabbled in various different types of real estate investing. And, I found my home here with Land Academy.
That's
Oh,
so good to hear. I mean, we've been
yes.
doing this for years and years, 7 or 8 years now, and I never get tired of hearing that ever, Chip. That's great.
I'm
Yeah, I feel like I'm just getting
s-
started. So, yeah, thank you again. It's going the right direction.
Yay. And now isn't it kind of cool? Now you're like, all right, now I can really breathe too.
Oh, you have no idea because I got retired from a corporate American job right when I started this. So a lot of pressure on my
Wow.
life. My during the pandemic, and so my wife's been carrying the weight for the past couple of years, doing tons of deals on the real estate investment side, but traditionally with new builds and hunting down SFRs and MLS. And so my goal is to retire her in the next year, and so I think I can certainly get there with this model.
So
I'm so glad.
how did your wife do with that? Like, was she successful finding undervalued houses on the
Well,
MLS?
We have a
S-
niche in which we cater to investors looking for cash flow properties in Central Florida. And I was doing it myself as a buyer rep for multiple investment groups that come to us in Florida. My business partner, who owns the brokerage that I'm a broker for, he has these lead channels set up. And so, I mean, for example, last year we did 460 transactions of SFRs. Probably half of them were new builds, and the other ones were ones that my wife and two other team members hunted down on the MLS. So she did 160 deals last year, and she's already over 100 just standard deals, either new builds or MLS, with DR Hortons and Lennar. She's regularly one of their top salespeople over the year, even though she doesn't work for the company. So,
Wow.
um,
So
but she's
what
just,
is the
go
model
ahead.
to sell them to institutional investors to make them rental property?
Exactly. And so when I started doing that, we had a couple funds that we were representing that we were buying for them. And if it met their yield model, they would buy it. So the game was get it under contract, then do all your due diligence to make sure that it fits. And then if it fits, go from there. As of the past probably 5 to 10 years, it's been more one-off investors that go through a real estate education program to learn how to be cash flow investors. And then they get spit out of these programs into selected markets, and that's how we get our leads. And so Central Florida and the tertiary markets around Orlando are good areas where you can buy and still get cash flow. And so that's what she's been doing, just finding those deals for those buyers. And they're usually ones and twosies. Some of them might buy, 5 or 10 properties, or as many as they can, but it's been a competitive battle for that. And so I've thought about flipping the switch to track down SFRs, and if the market changes a little bit, I may do that and pivot from land. I've done it a little bit, but not a ton, not as much as land. I think there's more mail that has to be sent for SFRs than there are for land, and so my focus has been. Well, I started just doing smaller building lots to flip to builders that were buying the houses that my wife would then sell to the group. And then once I proved the concept with that, I pivoted to large acreage, what I'm focusing on now, because in the prior life, I used to work for a rural land company. Well, several of them that would develop, hundreds of acres into 5, 10, 20 acre ranchettes. And so I have that network of, developers. So now I just try to find those deals. I know what their model looks like as far as where they need to be price wise, which is much, much closer to market value. And so I can be more aggressive on my offers to get there and just be a smidge below. But when you extrapolate that times 200 or 300 acres, it results in a good payday, or is meant to.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you apply, so you came to Land Academy with a hell of a lot of knowledge already on this industry, and
Mhm.
if you applied to basic Land Academy mailing concept, answer the phone, turn it into deals, to any of those models you just said, you're going to smash it. Like I hope you're aware of House Academy. It's a product that we've had for
Oh
a
yeah.
long time.
Oh yeah, I am. I've just been using a data tree to do the same house stuff when I've done it. And I've only sent one or two mailers out for houses. I thought I had one, and then the seller's mom died, and she couldn't. The market's so crazy here in Central Florida, she couldn't find anything to buy
Mm.
to move out of her place. So the deal, went south. But I think we'll turn it back on again for houses at some point. But I've done that, and I like land because there's less moving parts. There's no renovation estimates to get. I mean, you've got to certify water and electricity and a number of other things, but compared to a house, there's less variables that could wreck the deal, I guess.
There's
Ding
so
ding.
much drama on houses. I've
Yep.
never done a house deal. You can make easy $100,000 in a house deal without renovating it. I think there's
Oh
always
yeah,
just unless it's vacant. There's so much drama.
Mm-hmm.
correct,
Yep.
correct.
I love it. I was just gonna say, Chip, please look at Career Path 5 coming up in October. I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, getting you up into that group with us and the stuff that we could all take down together would be phenomenal.
Note taken.
Thank you.
you know, you know, you you talk about your wife and what she did there. She did 160 deals. So I have this secret, usually silent concern that Jill's going to get wind of the fact because Jill's just a born salesperson, like stick the needle in your arm and keep it there, kind of thing. And Jill, close your ears because I don't. You don't need to go sell houses to institutional investors. We need you
Understand.
here.
I understood. I did hear that. Yes. Yeah. I did hear that. Like, oh.
She's right next to me in the room. She is a habitual salesperson, and
Yep.
really great at what she does, but she's working too hard, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah.
Isn't that funny how that works? Like a lot of people think that oh, I'm gonna buy and sell houses. I'm gonna do it. I'm only have to work 3 or 4 hours a day, and it ends up you give up your 8 hour job to work like 18 hours doing it because to be really successful, you just have to pour your soul into it. It's not part time.
Mm-hmm.
and
Well,
that's what she's been doing.
well, and the same thing you guys got going on, Chip, is like that's kind of what when we really joined forces is when Jack was going, wait a minute, if you're working how hard making these guys that much money, if you did that over here for us, whoa, what would happen? And there we went.
Coincidentally,
That's exactly my thoughts. I'm trying to get her used to that idea as well. But if she's doing routinely 20 to 30 deals a month, if we could do 10, but then the spreads were way bigger, I think everybody would be happier.
Or you just get her own transaction coordinator. And then she's really just the deal maker on the phones. And then her assistant does all the other
oh,
junk.
I bet she's got one already.
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
lot of deals.
there's a semi-transaction coordinator that handles some of the deals on the back end when she sells them to the end investor.
Mm-hmm.
But the caveat is, I mean, it sounds super sexy, 20 to 30 deals a month, but there are splits with, my business partner that brings in the leads. And so
Right.
she's not getting 100% of the commission on each one of the deals, so to warrant paying for a transaction coordinator, it kind of eats up a lot of it eats up, especially to do a per deal basis. It really would eat into the commission. You'd pretty much have to have someone on salary, and we've
Mm-hmm.
batted that around a bunch of times. But the thought is like, oh god, as soon as we hire someone, the market's going to shift, like it's kind of doing right now. So, for example. She wore out D.R. Horton and Lennar Homes and got to a point where they put a halt on letting investors purchase. And now all of a sudden, the past 2 months, those builders are calling her like, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
you want you want deals now?" Because they're not moving them at the frequency they were a couple months ago.
That was my next question, and you answered it. Thank you. So you guys are seeing on the ground what the media is talking about. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
really
we're
good to
we're,
know.
we're seeing that, but ironically, in the bulk land space, I'm hearing here in Orlando that big land deals are imploding right and left. I'm hearing that from some of my developers. I'm doing a lot of stuff in Texas, but at the same time, my buyers they still have the appetite. I don't know if it's, I'm getting the right pricing for them or what, but they're still ready to go. I'm flying to Texas Tuesday to show a bunch of deals that I've got locked up, next week. So I'm going to run with it as long as they're ready to buy.
That's awesome.
We're about to have 5 amazing land acquisition years, Joe.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited. That's part of my mailer excitement. I see what's coming.
I
Me
think
too.
so too. And I'm even getting calls and emails from mailer that I sent last year. We've been hanging on this. We weren't ready to sell, but now we're thinking about selling. And my thoughts are they're seeing the market turn a little bit, and they want to get in before it's too late, while
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of towards the top. So I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities in the next coming years for both houses and land.
Exactly.
Yep, totally
That
agree.
is awesome. Thank you very much, Chip. I appreciate
Thank you
that.
guys.
Glad to
Got
see you.
it. Yeah. Hey Sam, is it Sam? Is it Carl? Can you chime in here? Hopefully you're got your stuff all set up.
Feeling kind of good about my terrible audio scenario today.
Oh, oh, because we're having trouble getting. I understand. I hear ya. How about Jose? Jose, can you? I got you up on the stage here if you want to unmute and jump in and say hello. We got
Hello,
Jose.
everybody.
Hi, how are
How are
you?
you guys today? Thank
Good.
you for inviting me on stage. Very great information. I've been a land banker myself already for about almost 18 years. I have a small company called Foreclosed Land, and I do the same. I
Oh,
invest my money into land. I do a 1031 exchange when my land's not going to be moved or used, so that way I can have a tax-free investment. And then we also do a bunch of other investments for people that want to buy a home but can't afford a home in specific cities or counties. So what we're trying to do right now is purchase large parcels where we can subdivide them and create them into small neighborhoods. It's happening a lot in the Barstow, Apple Valley, Victorville area where they're plateauing the land, putting all the necessities, water tanks, septic tanks, and all that within the plateau hillside that is being built to put the actual neighborhood on the top of it. So that way nothing gets drilled downwards into the ground. They build from ground up. It's a very neat concept. I never ever thought about it, but now that I see it more and more happening in the desert areas where I purchase, it's a neat concept.
I love it. Isn't it amazing, Jose, the changes that have happened over even just the last few years, the solutions for water and power and all that stuff that's a lot of things that our buyers, have to think about, right? Because not necessarily they're going to build it. It's not in a subdivision. It may be rural, vacant, and out there. So I love hearing about new and interesting and different ways to get it done and environmentally friendly, especially.
So
That's so
in
true.
Victorville, right?
What'd you say,
Didn't you
Jack?
start in Victorville?
Oh, well, it was it was like Fontana and Victorville properties. Yes, not exciting.
Well, yeah, you know what? I purchased my first piece of property in Victorville also.
Yeah, there you go.
And that was I kept it for about 8 years, and that was one of my biggest sales that I ever did.
That's cool.
It was amazing, and that's what literally took me into this market and started getting me into the market of buying, leasing, creating farmland. It's a very, very good business if you know how to handle the rails. Now, a CPA is needed. You cannot do this on your own. Because you start getting money from every corner. You rent out a piece of property, you get 6-7 leaseors on that piece of land, and by the time you know it, you're funding yourself in a way that now you're going to need to figure out how to equivalent your property. Either you invest that money back into another property so that way you can keep that 1031 chain going, or you decide to pay your taxes and go from there.
Exactly. I leave all that to Jack.
Just you decide to pay your taxes, Jose?
Hopefully that's not a tough decision.
If I'm not going to build on that sucker, it's a 1031 exchange.
Yeah.
If I lease it out, then that lease business, that actual business is going to basically pay his taxes on the leasing that they get from that business that leases out that chunk of land.
Jill and I don't make any decisions without first very dramatically considering the tax impact on everything else that we're doing as a whole. So
very true.
When you're thinking
that's
about
true.
Taxes, I think that's a super positive sign that you're having some serious success. When
that's true.
Our largest line item for all the expenses we have is taxes. And that's after I manage the hell out of it. So, most people say that's a good problem to have, but I'm in the middle of it all the time.
No, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's especially when it gets a little out of control, and then you're like, whoa, let's step it back real quick, and you got to start working direct with the CPA. You got to sit down with him a little bit more. Sometimes to me, a CPA is like a wagon with a bunch of horses. I got to figure out how to hold on to them rails. Because these guys can derail my whole business with it just because I decided not to pay attention.
Boy, you said it. You got to manage it every step of the way.
Yep.
I wish I had a CPA to blame all this stuff on. I only blame myself.
right? Hey, before I want to see if Sam or Carl, whoever's here, can talk. I want to make sure when you guys in this room, you got everyone. There's some really solid, awesome, interesting, maybe different from our kind of core model stuff, but lots of people here bringing different kind of value. So make sure you reach out, follow. Like right now, Jose, I'm following you. I see you're following me. It'd be fun to meet up in another room and stuff too. We got so many great people here, and definitely follow the land investing club here, so you're notified every time we do something too. So, all right, Sam, I think I got you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yay! Yep, we got you.
Yay! Finally worked.
Yay!
Okay.
Yay!
Yeah,
How
I
are
have
you?
exciting, good. I have exciting news. So now I am full time on land. Our last day
Yes!
was last Friday.
Woohoo!
So woohoo!
Yay! So this is a business meeting for you today.
It is. It is. It was funny. I was like joining, and Carl was like, "Oh, your business meeting," and so yeah, that's what we've been calling these
That's right.
Thursday calls. So
I don't
it's
have
been
to.
great listening in.
I don't have to hide under my desk or pretend I'm doing something else to listen
I
in.
know. Yeah, that's how I was feeling before. I mean, I work from home,
Right.
whichever way, but still, it was like I felt like I was being torn between my corporate life and my new land business. So now I can focus fully on land and our one mailer just hit, and so now I've been answering calls, which I've been dreading, but it's been working out. I think there's a little bit of a learning curve that I've been going through, but um, it'll get
Bring it.
there, I'm sure.
What's been the worst call like so far?
Um, I don't know because not I haven't really been cussed out or anything. Like people aren't that mean. I think the
Mhm.
meanest part is that they just don't get what we're doing and they like tell us that we're ripping people off and that we're taking advantage of people. But in reality, it's like it's not that. It's not for
Mhm.
everybody and we try to help people who need the help and if it's not for them, I kind of just say, okay, we're just, not for everybody. But
Exactly. I always try to say, hang on to it. You
mhm,
never know. Things
right.
change. And call me in 6 months. I might still be interested in it,
Right. So
kind of
it's been
thing.
good so far. We're
Yay.
working on another mailer to be sent out, and we've been talking. Carl and I have been talking back and forth about how we want to price it, just because the economy is kind of turning, and so we know the last year some of the prices were inflated more than maybe what they're going to be in the future. And so we don't want to overprice our mailer. We'd rather come in a little bit low and have a little wiggle room to go up with. And so we've been looking at, and we kind of want to get your guys' input and advice on this, is we've been looking at the last 2 or 3 years of sales data and kind of formulating like, okay, what was the trend and maybe it's going to go down. So maybe it's going to be more like how it was 2 years ago versus what it was last year. And so we just have been playing with the data and we haven't had like a concrete answer yet. And we were just hoping to get your input on it.
We just recorded a show, an episode for the podcast that'll air next week on this exact topic, and I go through it
Oh,
all.
perfect.
And then on the Thursday call, a couple hours from now, I guess an hour from now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do a whole presentation on pricing right now, and I talk about this. So,
Sam can
Okay.
come
I
today.
can,
Last
yep, I
last
can
week she
hold tight.
couldn't.
Definitely. Yep, I'll definitely tune in and I can listen to the answer then. I'm glad you're addressing it because we've been talking about it nonstop for the last 2 weeks here.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That's what we talk about a lot too, is pricing.
I tend to go in a little bit higher than Jill wants, and so but on this mailer, I know we've been through this before, this economy shift, and I know it's coming, and I went in really low. Believe it or not, there are some sections in some zip codes where I'm pricing it at 3 to 5% of the retail value.
Oh, okay.
It's a really high
So,
dollar amount because their properties are really large, but it's one of those
Mm-hmm.
things like, wow, if this comes back signed, what a deal.
Right.
That's
mm-hmm.
really I'll save you all the presentational stuff. Now more than ever, it's like, oh my gosh, if this gets signed, or if Jill can even come anywhere close to the price renegotiation on it, we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
jump up and down. So that's where you want to be now. That's where you want to price them higher.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
Exactly.
that I'm a firm believer in that. All said, I'm a firm believer in there still has to be. You can't send an offer to somebody if they have a $30,000 property and you send them an offer for $8,000 to $10,000. I think that works for everybody. If you send that same person an offer for $800, I think that's insulting and a waste of time. So
Hmm.
there's that point.
Exactly, because our mailer that just hit, our first few hate calls where you're valuing my property in, the hundreds of thousands when it should be millions. And so, I mean, you always get those people who exaggerate the price of their land because it means something special to them. And so they price it higher in their mind. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that's what the market actually is. But we want to make sure that the feedback that we get is closer to what our price actually was offered.
Mm-hmm. I always say, you have to be really respectful. If you lose, there's certain personality types that'll send these things out. Send everybody an offer for $500. I think that's so silly and not
Hmm.
good. And it's abusive. But so no, I make sure if we've got real large acreage property that's really really rural and probably worth five or $800,000, I don't have a problem sending someone an offer for $120,000 on that at all.
Hmm.
It's a lot.
Exactly.
I don't care who you are. 100 grand's a lot. Really, 10,000's a lot. I don't care who you are. So I try to make sure that it bottoms at around between eight. Not too far from $10,000.
Hmm.
Yeah. Good stuff. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm excited for today. This will be really good. If
Sam,
anybody,
I have
go
one
ahead.
more question. You guys just did that crazy complicated deal where half the people were dead, and I saw it in Discord. How did
Yeah.
how did that all end? Or can you tell us a story? I guess we only have a few minutes here.
Oh yeah, I could tell you in a quick minute here. So yeah, we had a property in North Carolina that we closed on. It didn't meet all of the A's. The
Uh,
alive bucket was non-existent. So it was grandparents, and both the grandparents had passed away in the 60s, and the parent or the children had inherited the land with no will from either parent. And so there was four siblings that had to sign off on it, and they all agreed on our price. And so um, they signed off on it, and then when we were trying to close on it, they couldn't find any deed or anything out there, and it turned out that the grandmother's name was spelt wrong at the courthouse, and so they had to find that mistake and correct that as well. And so it took us a little bit to close on it. It took us over 30 days. I think it was like right around 45 days to actually close on the property. And so far, it has been listed for 3 weeks now, 4 weeks now, and we've gotten some people saying that they're interested, but they wanted to get their finances in order. And I'm sure they're watching the market just like all of us are, and seeing how this recession is going to be playing out. And so we're hoping to get an offer, within the next week or so. But yeah, it hasn't finalized yet, so I don't really have an ending to it. But we'll keep you in the loop once everything clears.
So how did you solve these legal issues? Did you have a
We
lawyer or?
actually, yeah, we actually worked with an attorney. We've been working with attorneys in all of our closes so far, and we've actually really enjoyed it just because they
Me
work
too.
through these problems and they take stuff off of our plate. And so it's basically their headache, not mine. And so we just kind of follow up with them on a weekly basis to make sure that they're still working on our case because we know that they get busy with other things. And so we just have weekly touch points with them to make sure everything's moving along. And yeah, it just closes. So we're patient too. I know some people want their money faster, but we explained it to the seller as well, letting them know like this is like an extreme case where nothing's really clear. We have to sort out all these issues before we could actually close on it. And so they were really patient as well, and we kept the open communication. There was no hurt feelings or anything.
That's awesome. And I'm sure they realize if it wasn't you, nobody would do it
Yeah,
because it's a
Right,
lot,
right.
obviously. So that's
some of them have been
so
waiting since
great.
the '60s, so we can wait
Yeah,
another week.
right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Totally. Hey, Jack, I have 2 questions in the chat I want to throw to you here.
Mm-hmm.
One is Nick Skinner says, question as I'm preparing a mailer. When trolling for markets and sending out offers, do you guys have a minimum acreage or do you just mail everything? Past experience has taught me that small lots that have never been perked or tested for wetlands can be risky.
That's 100% correct. My rock bottom, unless there's a mobile home or something special or specialization mailer, is 1 acre. I love 2.5 to 10. That's my sweet. 3.5 acres to 10 acres is, or maybe even 20, depending on where you are. I love all those properties, and then hopefully there's not just limited to a single use. It can be recreation. It can be, maybe put a house on it. Maybe you have, it could be agriculture and all that. I think you're just widening and increasing your percentages for success.
Thank you. I have another one here real quick from Matt. Matt Matique says, hi, can you talk a little bit about margins for land that retails in the $200,000 to $300,000 range, and then maybe the $300,000 to $4,000 range? Is it different if you are buying for yourself versus working with deal funders? Am I correct in thinking as the size go up, the margins go down?
So this is, you are correct in saying that in general. However, like I just mentioned about pricing, your pricing percentages should go down as your acreage percentage off of retail value. So in the $300,000 to $400,000 range, what I like to see for deal funding, and Jill, please pipe in here. I'd like to see, as Jill and I have gone further into this career, our minimum dollar threshold per transaction continually goes up. I think right now it's about $50,000, right, Jill?
Mm-hmm.
We need to make it $50,000. So in a $300,000 to $400,000 range on the south side, or even on the south side, it's very, very realistic to buy a property for $200,000 or $300,000 and sell it for $4. It happens all the time, and so those are deals that we can. Jill, stop me if I'm wrong.
No, I love it. You're right.
And we do deals ourselves all the time where we're making $50,000 to $100,000 net. That's the mailers that we do. In fact, that's kind of what I sought out on this last really large mailer. So, no, I think you're right in the slot where you need to be for deal funding.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Well, and I love Dana. Like, think of Dana's numbers: buy for 20 to 40, to sell for 90 to 110, whatever in there. Those are all real numbers and not hard to do. One a week, and not have to work that hard.
You just want to make sure that if you're going to sell a piece of property for $300,000, that it's worth 5 or 6, or 4 or 5 or 6. Let's say that the area where you can get kind of stuck and you don't want to be in this situation is where you're buying a property in a market, a $300,000 property in a market that no property has sold for $300,000. Might be the greatest deal ever, but no, people just don't spend that kind of money on real estate there. Jill likes to test, she looks up what house values are in markets like that, and if she's seeing house values for houses are being regularly sold for $20,000, we step off the deal. It's just
Right.
Nobody can afford it.
Right.
If it's agriculture, that whole different deal.
Right.
Everybody wants ag land.
Exactly. I got one more here. Ibrahim is raised up, so we'll get Ibrahim up here. And while I'm doing this, I was going to tell everybody too, 1 hour from now is our regular Land Academy closed Thursday webinar / call that we do with everybody. It's Jack and I, video on screen sharing, looking at deals, answering questions, going through all the stuff in our sweet closed environments and really looking at deals like, would you do this deal? Dana can say, here's where I'm at. I love it for these reasons. I'm just not sure about this. Can you guys help me? And we're going to look it up, and we're going to look at comps. We're going to look at the maps. We're going to look at flood zone, whatever it is, everything here. So if you would like a one-time invite to join us today because you're not in Land Academy, we would love to have you. Just send a note to support@landacademy.com. Just email support@landacademy.com. Hey, I'm on Clubhouse. I want to get on this call today, and my team will zip you back a link to do a one-time invite. And then also today is kind of special because Jack's going to be doing a special session for all of us on his latest tweaks, I guess, if you will, on pricing right now. Little things he's doing differently as of, last couple weeks. So that'll be really, really good. So hi, Ibrahim. If you want to unmute, I think you should be able to jump in here and ask a question. Or just say hi.
Hi,
Hi.
Jill.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Jack. Actually, I don't have much to say, and I just even just read about what the room is all about. It's about land, business connection, and other stuff related to that. So I'm not into that, unfortunately. So, but life is all about learning new things, different things. So I would like to learn, and then yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the little hello. So, all right, on that, I'm going to call it here, Jack, so we could get our time to grab a quick little. Oh, wait, I got to read Bill Tanner's thing before I wrap this up. Bill said, second deal under contract, super excited, bought for $28,000, under contract to sell for $94,000. I used a money partner, so I will still walk away with $32,000. My first deal was buy for $47,000 and sold for $140,000. Holy moly, Bill, you're giving me goosebumps here. That was the perfect way to end this today. Thank you so much for typing that note in there. I really appreciate that.
That's a mic drop.
Yeah, that's a definitely would you brag about this deal, right? That's awesome. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Chip. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Sam. Congratulations on your yay win here and your mailer hitting. And thank you, Jose and Ibrahim for saying hi and Bill for sharing. You guys are awesome. And we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. And thank you for showing up and giving us some love here on Clubhouse. And I will see many of you in about an hour. So have a good one. Talk more soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for the channel.